Hi everybody. So this video is just going to kind of touch base with you about the second version that I'd like you guys to work on. So the second version that you're going to be working on for this Japanese Notan should look more sophisticated, more complex, more interesting, and I'm going to leave it up to you to interpret that however you want. But I am going to go through some of the options in this video. So I'm back here and I looked up Japanese Notan, and one of the things you can do to help you with this more sophisticated version is to kind of look through some of these designs that were made that are already out there. So you might want to do something that's more realistic, that represents something. So you might find that something like this might be one of the ways that you can make your second version more interesting. Another thing that you can do along with that is that you can use different colors. So in my demonstration in class, I was using opposite colors, but you can certainly try different colors. Most of the time, the Japanese Notan is black and white, but if you want to do opposite colors on the color wheel, took me a bit to find them. Oops. So something like this, where they're using like a yellowish green, and they're using like a violet kind of color just to make it more appealing. So that could be another way to go. So you can also make it into a design like a fish or a butterfly or anything that's contrasting. So something like this could be something you might want to explore. Okay? So one of the other things is that you do not have to start with a square. You can work with a rectangle, or you can work with a triangle, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of those options. So now I'm over here in Pixlr, and the one thing that's going to be the same is starting off your design. You're making a new image, and you're making it 2000 by 2000. So this background could be opposite colors on the color wheel. You don't have to use black and white. You can use black with another color, and you can explore those variations. So I've decided, and I have them set up in my colors over here on the left-hand side. I wanted to use a blue and I wanted to use an orange. If I wanted to switch those colors around, I can hit the letter X on my keyboard, or I can just hit that arrow right here. So my thought is I'm going to have a blue background. So I'm going to make sure my foreground color is blue. I'm going to go to the paint bucket, and I'm going to dump blue into my design. Okay? So it's at this point that I can use, instead of going with a square, I can make another shape. So what you can do is, here's just one thought, I can go to the polygon tool and I can make another shape with straight edges. So if I wanted to make, let's say, a random kind of shape like this, to just explore my options, I can draw it up using the polygon, the lasso tool, the polygon. I can go with a new layer, and I can dump the color into that space there. Okay, I'm going to hit Control D to get rid of the ants, and so I can go ahead and start working just like I did before. You're going to work with one edge, and I'm going to cut it and paste it. So it's there. Now I have to flip it. It's going to have to be flipped, but then I'm going to have to make some other adjustments. So I'm just going to flip it vertically. But you see that it is not fitting. I want this to be lined up right where the original line was. So what I'm looking for is I want the line to line up right there, okay, where the original line was. I just drew that line just to show you what I'm talking about. So, but I did have to flip it. I had to make it a mirror image, but then I'm going to have to do this manually. I can rotate my image. You want to stay away from these squares. I don't want to make it bigger and smaller. You're going to use this circle here for that rotation. I'm going to move up a little bit, move closer to my area so I can really see what I'm doing. So the idea is I want this blue space right here to look exactly like this orange space right here, like a yin and a yang. So it's just going to take a little bit of time. Okay. So if I wanted to cut out another shape, I could certainly cut from here and bring it back over, or I can work with another side. So the one thing that this version is doing is it's making it more sophisticated and a little bit more interesting because it's using a different shape. So if I have something like this, oh, I want to add more to that. So I'm going to go to Add to Selection. Just want to get the rest of that in there. Okay. So I'm on layer 2, cut, paste. I have to flip it. So I'm just going to go horizontally. Whether you go horizontally or vertically, the idea is you want to make it a mirror image of the piece of the negative space of the whole. Okay, and so I can keep going around with this image, and it's going to make it look really kind of cool. So that's one thing. And actually, I did two things. I made it a different color, but now I'm also using an interesting shape. So another thing you can do is that you can use the shape tool for this second version. So the shape tool is located right over here. The shortcut's the letter U. And you notice that you have a variety of shapes here. So again, the best, I would say the best thing would be using shapes that have straight edges. But you can also try a circle, you can try a rectangle, a rounded rectangle, whatever you want. You know, this is, again, you're going to interpret this however you want. So I'm going to go with star. Now, notice that I have fill selected, and I have, you should have stroke set to 0. The stroke is the outline. I do not want an outline around the shape. Now, I'm also going to make sure that fill is selected. It's going to use the color that is the background for my shape. Now, the problem with this is that notice my background is blue. So if I start making a shape, it's going to be blue on blue. I'm not going to be able to see it. So again, the shape tool is going to use the color that's in the background. So I'm going to switch them so my color is orange. I'm also going to just verify that fill is selected here. Now I'm going to make a new layer for the shape. Okay. I'm going to arrange it. I'm going to get it in the middle. I'm deciding I'm going to rotate it a little bit, make it a little bit different. You can also change the aspect if you wish to try to make it, you know, a little elongated. Okay. And I'm not making it too big because I want to have some areas, I want to have enough space around my star so I can flip those pieces over. So it's going to be the same process as before. I'm going to cut away a piece. I'm going to make sure my layer that I want to cut it from is selected. I cut and I paste. Can't see the shape right now. There it is. I'm going to flip it, and then I have to fit it into place as it was. So it should look like the mirror image of the hole that it left. Okay? So I can keep going with this. So that's definitely going to be good for this design. Now another thing I want to show you, using the shape tools. I'm going to zoom in just so I have enough space here. I'm going to show you how you can use a shape, one of these here, as a piece to cut. Okay, so I'm making a new layer again for the shape to exist, and I'm going to put a shape right here. So if I was to ask you what color is this shape going to be, hopefully you're finding that it's going to be orange, which is the same color. So I won't be able to see orange on top of orange. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this like black, just so we don't get it mixed up with anything. So I'm going to select, make sure stroke is set at 0, fill is selected, Now I'm going to make a heart, and I have the heart drawn on a different layer. Okay. So this shape could be stretched out. You know, maybe I want it to be a little more narrow so it fits in that space really nicely. So now I just want this to be a whole. In other words, I want to select this heart. Okay, so to do this, I make sure that the layer is selected, which it is. I'm going to go use the wand select tool, and I'm going to select this shape. Notice that there is marching ants showing me that that is selected. It's at this point I can take layer 7 now that I have it selected, and I can delete it because I don't need it anymore. So what's left is my selection of the heart. Know where you're cutting this heart out from. I'm cutting it from this layer right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit Control X, Control V. Then I pasted that. Okay. I'm going to flip it. Just want to make sure that that's going to look like the mirror image. It looks like I need to rotate it a bit. So it looks like just like the mirror image of that. Okay, so that's how you can use the shape to make holes. Okay, so hopefully you can explore some of the possibilities. Again, I'm leaving this to your, your own interpretation. When I say I want a second version and I want it to be sophisticated, it could be that you're trying a different color scheme. It could be that you're trying a different, trying to use the shape tools, trying different shapes. It might be that you're going to be adding some details to make it look realistic. Okay, so again, I'm leaving that to your own interpretation. So this second version should look very different from your first version. Okay, all right, have fun. Good luck.